But when I ride, it's like I do it to get away from different things. If you have like problems in your life or something like that, that's when you go through the canyons. So my name's Corbin Reinhardt, and I have been riding motorcycles now for my whole life. I mean, since I was probably 5 years old. Yeah, that's when I had my first little tiny 50. It was like a little dirt parking lot that we had like next to the house. So we would just kind of go over there every other weekend. And we would just kind of go out and ride. And definitely my dad got me into it more so. Yeah, man. Okay, so now 22, I'm pretty young. I got out of high school. I went to college, dropped out of college, mainly because I didn't mean to drop out of college, by the way. It was for parkour. I started doing international competitions and stuff like that, and I couldn't do school in that at the same time. I had to withdraw from classes. So I just stopped doing college for a bit and started doing parkour mainly and became pro at that. And after that, basically started picking up YouTube, collaborations, different stuff, and been traveling the world. So it's been a lot of fun.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, it's hit me somewhere in terms of, it's helped me get through a lot of things in terms of I never liked team sports. Like when I was a kid, I used to play baseball, I used to like, football and everything. I liked them, but I never liked the idea of if something went wrong or something like that, you never knew what was the problem, But when you do something in motocross or when you do something in parkour, you know what's happening, it's you, and you have to watch the footage and you can fix that yourself. It's not like you have to tell somebody you have to do something different, And I think that really helped me in terms of the I can't even say it, the individual, or not individual, what is it? Individual side of things, in terms of just focusing on yourself. So I think that's really been a benefit to the sport, and I think that's why I've gotten so good, because I think the problem is me, and I know how to fix it. Oh man, that's a real question. Well, now with YouTube and all the videos being put out there, you can just find it right off the bat. That's a major part of it. So there's a lot of really good up and coming athletes out there. But back in the day, it used to be films. It used to be, for motorcycle riding. In my closet was On Any Sunday, and we would always be watching that. I used to love that Bruce Brown movie. My dad used to show me it, and I would watch it all the time. Then you get into Disney, Motocrossed. When she tries to be a motocrosser, that was one of the best movies. Travis was strong in it. But in terms of parkour and stuff like that, there was a movie called B-13, and that one really captured my whole mind on that, because I did not know what was possible, and to just see it right in front of you, going from building to building, that was one of the coolest things to me.
That was the one.
No, that's not lowering at all. I think crashing is actually something you need to get better at. I've always heard this in the past, is if you haven't crashed, you're not pushing hard enough. So crashed multiple times on the Supermoto, not on the Ducati, thank God. I crashed that bike, I'm not getting it back. But the Supermoto, I've crashed on Mulholland and the Snake a couple times. I have a couple Instagram videos of that. But just low sides, nothing crazy. Never had anything like actually. Back in the day, when I raced Supermoto back at Adams, I low-sided in one of the faster corners, and I broke my fib, I believe it was. Yeah, so it was just the back of my leg. But that was the first time I ever broke a bone, and it's kind of nice to know what that's like, But what are you gonna do? I would say the process of getting back from an injury usually relies on my inability to stay still. I can't stay still. When I'm at home, and I especially when I broke my leg on that one time when I broke my fib doing Supermoto, I couldn't stop going back to the gym. Even a parkour gym, you need to use your legs. I couldn't at all. So I would just go in and I would have to just do bars and stuff, and people were telling me don't do that. It even kind of prolonged my injury a little bit because I landed on my leg sometimes. But just I cannot stop a lot of the time. I can't stop moving. So I think that's one of the things that's really helped me. But also in the way of I won't let the most recent being my head injury, I wouldn't let myself stop, you know? If you let yourself stop, that's kind of when you're dying in a sense. You know, you shouldn't stop that from happening. I think definitely the head injury took me out of the whole thing for a second. We were doing a bunch of different things, and I did one thing, and I did one big things, and I hit the men 2-minute things 1,280,000, and it took me a long time. So I'm glad I did it for a while. Hopefully I can go out a little bit more. And just kind of coming back to knowing your bearings. That was the biggest portion, is knowing where the basics are. Because when you're super confident in yourself and then something like that happens and you almost died and you're like, I didn't know anything that was wrong, you know? Going back to basics and then learning your way up again is really important. So I would say that's what I use usually in injuries. Yes. Oh, the thing is, it's different for me. When I ride, it's more of a feeling than it is I don't call parkour like a job, but you know, it's still like a hobby. But when I ride, it's like I do it to get away from different things. You know, if you have like problems in your life or something like that, that's when you go through the canyons. So when I was like, you know, dealing with an injury or something like that, I just wanted to ride all the time because I just wanted to just go out and flow. You know, it's just nice to just go back and forth. And a lot of times I couldn't do that. But in terms of that, I felt of riding as more of a feeling than I did as a job or as something I really needed to work on, you know? Just pushing myself is something I do naturally, and I thought that riding is like kind of a way of pushing myself, but just being comfortable.
This one doesn't scare me as much, but it has no end.
Hey, I warned you guys, in about 40 minutes there's going to be some trucks coming down here.
Oh, thank you.
They drive crazy fast.
I've heard.
And so two crazy people together are going to make an accident.
I agree.
Can't
Thank
talk
you.
to them, but I can talk to you.
For
We
sure.
appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. Don't trust that shit. Don't trust that shit. We're gonna find out. I don't know. Shit. That one's sketch.
Been a little too nice for y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on ice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. Frozen. 8-6 all the hand. I won't get a ball today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the balls. I'm flipping the. All record, off record. I still count wins when they got it. All record, off record. I never take a big chance. All record deals.
What is your biggest struggle that helped you form yourself into the person that you are today? And that is a tough question. What is the biggest struggle? The thing is, like, you know, in terms of struggle, I don't really think of a lot of things as struggles, you know, like in terms of when I ride and everything, it's more for the love of it. It's not necessarily like a struggle that, you know, around it. If anything, I would say injuries are kind of the struggles. So in terms of obstacles that I've run into, probably the head injury and when I broke my leg doing supermoto. But I would say those are, you know, in terms of anything like that, there's not something that you're not going to push through, because if you have a love for something, then taking that away from yourself is going to be the worst thing you can do. So if anything, the struggles that they're talking about that's made me into who I am, they've been motivators. So I would say probably injuries have been the struggle, and they've motivated me to come back and even better than I was before.
All right. Looks like I'm just gonna try it out.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just probably this one from right here. When I get up to this one, I feel like that's just, it doesn't look steep when you're there, but because this is already steep and then it comes out, it's like almost vertical right there. So I'm not gonna hit that one, but that one I'll look at. All right, you ready?
I'm ready when you are.
I've always liked flow. Flow is the best part about riding to me, because you can only do so much from running, you know, in terms of parkour and stuff like that. You could always only do so much that your legs can give you. But when you have a motor underneath you and you can control it, I think it's almost like the perfect 50-50. You know, obviously the motor's doing more power and more work. Just being able to have full control over a machine and be able to go through the canyons, it's a certain type of flow that you reach that I think is probably the best thing about it. And you reach the same thing with motocross as well. You know, when you hit a corner correctly and the lack of traction, being able to control the lack of traction, I think that's an idea that I've always loved. And that's kind of why I got into drifting as well, because doing things that normal people would be scared of, you know, in terms of somebody spinning out or like certain stuff like that, I've always thought controlling that is one of the coolest things. So I think the ability to control and the flow of it is really what I love about motorcycle riding, I would say in the future I've been doing a lot of more YouTube things, and I think that's a nice way to connect to people, because there's a lot of things that I've done in my past that I didn't realize that people actually like, oh, that's helped me. So certain stuff like that, I'm gonna be really using YouTube in the future. I'm gonna try to do a lot of collaboration and wanna go around the world. And if I go around the world, you know I'm gonna be finding roads, and I'm gonna try to motorcycle ride through them. Other than that, on the parkour side of things, I have a new Fox show coming out called Ultimate Tag, and that's gonna be a big thing coming up. Hopefully that does well, goes like a season 2. Yeah, that's kind of all I'm looking for in my future right now. Stunt work and just riding on the side. I've been doing a lot of track days recently. I want to try to go into racing more. But yeah, I would just say just enjoying the ride.
Any place you